let's start. So thank you for coming. This is our second session of Create at Home. So I'm very excited to have us up and running, talking about being stir crazy, trying to do things in the house and be productive and effective, and give tips on how to exactly do that. So we have a really good program today, which I'm very excited about. One of my very, very dear friends is on with us today. I have known Dominique Wright since we were about 6 years old. So I know
Younger,
she knows young five,
maybe
kindergarten,
4. We were
four,
really, really small. Yeah.
teeny humans. And now we have our own teeny humans, which is really funny.
Right.
Yeah. So I know she knows all her stuff. So when I had an opportunity to bring some guests into the session, Dominique was one of my first calls to make. And I thought this was really timely and important because what are we all doing right now that we're in quarantine besides working from home? Working from home and scrolling through our social media and trying to figure out how to do this in a healthy way. And Dominique is an expert blogger, and she is a social media expert in her personal life, in her professional life, just kind of all the way around knowing the business of this. So I wanted to bring her in and have her talk about tips and suggestions for staying healthy on social media at this time. So now I'm going to start our conversation. Dominique, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm good. I really can't complain. I work from home normally, so it's been an interesting like switcheroo to have everyone here because that's part of what the distraction is. But
Interesting.
like I'm okay mostly. I miss the gym, but other than that, it's all good. How are you?
I'm okay. And that's really funny. Like the norm for you, and now that everyone else is invading your space, you've had to adjust to them. So that's kind of hilarious. Because all of
Right.
us are like, what are we doing?
Right. And
This
my
is the
place
norm. This is cool.
is super small. So we have to I have a call at 11. Well, I have a call at 11 too. Okay,
Right.
well, you go in the bathroom or I'll go in the closet or, so we've been kind of switching it up like that.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I thought we could start it out with a little bit on your background. How did you get into the socials for professional and personal life? Like, what drew you to become a blogger and to do this for corporate?
I don't know what it was about social that attracted me. It's just that instant connection with people. I think that I loved so much and just like being able to talk to people.
Yeah.
And at some point in like 2011, when I was working in marketing but not social, and I knew I wanted to do social. So I was like, how can I do this? And so I just kind of studied up on all the platforms and figured out how they worked. And obviously that's really outdated now. So if you're a social media manager, you have to really, really learn constantly. So I went to my church, which was the fastest growing church in America at the time. And I volunteered to be their social media manager. And you wouldn't believe how that took off from me doing their social for free to getting freelance clients to walking into a full-time position to be a social media manager. So
Wow.
I ended up at Quicken Loans, a family of companies. I was there for over 7 years. And some of the people that hired me and took chances on me as their first time freelance social media manager, I still work for to this day. So it's been a long, interesting journey, but I'm really excited to be here and talk to all of you guys.
That's amazing. And it's amazing to hear that it was so organic. Like
Yeah,
it almost kind of found you in a
right. It
way.
did. Yeah, it was like I want to get paid to talk to people, but not face to face.
Like I'm kind of a social introvert, so how can I kind of be around people but
Right.
not?
And it's
Any
almost like an
boundaries?
acting aspect, like an acting piece, because you can take on the persona of that brand and like just say whatever, and it's not maybe not really you, but it is you. Like,
Yeah,
so.
yeah, yeah, exactly. What are your favorite social media platforms right now?
So for me, I love Instagram and Facebook. So I'm an elder, so I love Facebook. You know, I like to get on the Facebook and chop it up with people. Instagram is my favorite, and then my quarantine goals, because I have quarantine goals to learn how to do TikTok. So my 15-year-old has been teaching me, and I made a nice little video. It has like 200 views, so doing okay.
Nice. And for the rest of us, what exactly is TikTok?
So TikTok is like, it's like Snapchat, Instagram stories all in one, but you can like, it has like Photoshop elements to it. So you can change the elements, you can download audio. It's almost to like Dub Smash. So you can download the audio and like say what people are saying. And so it's really cool. I love TikTok. I just
nice. I'll have to get on that. Well, I've heard of it, obviously I've seen it, but I didn't know how it worked. So thank you for
really cool.
providing a little light.
To like the little nuances, it's really cool. You just have to learn it.
Yeah, awesome. So you mentioned your daughters are teaching you how to use some of these new social media platforms. Mm-hmm. How has it been in quarantine with social media and with your kids? How are you managing that?
Social media is my escape. So I follow all of these hashtags, and like one of them is like Bali, Indonesia. That's my virtual vacation. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go in the bathroom and close the door and just like look at Bali right now. Like just to get a break. But it's been okay. Like in all seriousness, it's been okay. It hasn't been too crazy. The older one is 15, so she's always on social media. So we have to have times where phones down, and they just started e-learning this week, if we want to call it that. And so, you know, they're doing their own Zoom meetings, and kids are getting disrespectful with the teachers in the comment section. And I'm just like, what is happening? But the little one, you know, she has her iPad to occupy her, and then we've started doing like sight words and stuff like that. So it's been okay.
Nice. Yeah. You know, my daughter is 9 months, so I'm kind of at the place where I'm keeping her from eating my phone, literally. But I am terrified for where we're going to have to go and like setting up like different boundaries for her. Mm-hmm. Do you have any tips for parents as they're kind of navigating this new world that we haven't been, you know, taught to really know what to do with?
Yeah, fortunately for me, my company is really understanding. And so they know that everybody's at home. And so we'll have times where we'll be on a Zoom and somebody's dog will come in, or somebody's husband will just doop by, or, you know, and they just told us like, look, if your kids come in while you're talking, it is what it is at this point, because everyone is at home and we know everyone's at home. So, you know, my thing is I try to quarantine them or like sequester them by my meetings. So if I know I have a meeting at 11 o'clock, it's like, okay, it's heads down time. You need to be reading, or you need to be doing your sight words, or, you know, occupying yourself in some way, coloring, creating. I don't care what you do, just don't come in here.
Right. For your teenager, you allow her to have social media accounts?
I do, but I monitor them very closely, and I don't let her have Snapchat. So Snapchat is out, and then she gets really upset with me when I'm like, okay, well, why did you say this? Well, what does this mean? Or, you know, why are you, you know, portraying yourself this way? Like, you shouldn't, you know, it's always like questions to see like what that teenage thought process is. Right. Because it's very surreal to have a teenager, because I remember when I was a teenager and I could not imagine having social media the way that they have it. And the way that these parents give their kids phones and don't look at them, I read text messages, I check the DMs, and like a lot of times she'll be like, hey guys, you better stop cussing. My mom reads my DMs. Yeah. Like, you know, so.
Yeah, my little sister, you know, my little sister's a teenager, and I've tried not to be the crazy older sister, but, you know, she has a Snap and I'm always in there. And when she has put like interesting things on there, and I will call her so quickly. Yeah. Or like her friends will be like, Imani saw it. I saw that your sisters saw your Snap. But you kind of have to be really involved in a different way now. When we were teenagers, I think cell phones were just becoming a thing. So it was like, we really only had cell phones for calls, like
Yeah. Not even
emergency
text.
calls.
There was no texting. It was just like you could talk, and then some of us had minute limits, so you couldn't
Yeah.
just be on the phone.
Oh, yeah. I
They just
definitely
have
had minute
like
limits.
wide open west.
Yeah.
It's the floodgates are open, so you have to be really careful. I told her
Yeah.
she can have Snapchat when she's 16.
Yeah.
So that's my rule. And just from working in social media, working with the people who work at Snapchat, they're like, oh no, we wouldn't let our kids have it.
Yeah.
You know.
For your younger daughter, do you have any parameters yet? Or for her, I know she doesn't have her own account or anything like that, but maybe for how you post her or things like that. Have you thought about that?
No, she gets posted a lot because she's really funny. So
She's adorable.
gets my likes up, so I post her a lot. But for her, she does look at YouTube a lot, and so I only let her look at YouTube Kids. So, and you remember, like a year or so ago, there was a scare with this weird, creepy thing on YouTube.
Yeah.
So yeah, I only let her use YouTube Kids, and that's very, very, very much monitored by like YouTube and their staff. So nothing weird is on there. But she does like subscribe to things, and it's weird because I'll get the subscription notice, and I'm sorry, but I just think it's really weird that there's grown adults out there who play with toys for like 30 minutes and post videos.
Yeah. There's a whole lot of content that you just wouldn't expect to be there.
Yeah, and I'm like, what is this? Like,
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah.
Yeah. Nope, I totally understand. How's it been? You mentioned working from home, doing your Zoom meetings, things like that, and your company is really kind of like tolerant, lenient of like, you know, your people, your family walking in the background. But if you have a more strict company that you're working for, do you have any suggestions for things your kids could do? Kind of ways to distract your family while you're trying to get things done?
Like I know people who have like whole schedules. Like people are really playing that dual role of a teacher, a mom, wife, all of those things. So
Yeah.
like what I've heard people doing, and I've tried to implement this as much as I can. I just have a workspace.
Okay.
So if you're fortunate enough to have an office, then you have an office. I don't. I'm like in the living room, and I have like a collapsible desk. So I can take this collapsible desk with me wherever I want to go. So if they're, you know, doing something, let's say they're working in the front room, I can take my desk to another area. I have a lap desk too, so if I want to just like sit in the bed and like work and be undisturbed, I can do that as well.
Yeah.
It's hard to like have kids doing activities for long periods of time at home, and I think one thing parents should definitely be doing is like taking the pressure off yourself because I mean, you're not going to be a professor, the home cook, the teacher, you know, the mom, the doting mom, the art mom. Like, you're not going to do it all every single day. So if there's days where y'all just watch movies, and there's days where you just watch movies.
Yeah, that's such a good point.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, I think giving yourself permission to sometimes slack, like I'm gonna put that in air quotes, but you're not going to be perfect, well, any day, but you're not going to hit all those points every day. Like you're going to get tired.
Especially if you're fooling with Common Core math. So just give yourself some space, you know.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That made me feel good. I'm gonna take that with me all day. I'm doing the best I can. Okay.
Right.
Okay. I kind of want to switch hats a little bit. So we've been talking about, you know, corporate work, doing Zoom with your kids, that sort of thing. But you're also a blogger, and you have a really amazing Instagram, which has such lively pictures of like all different things that you do. It's so fun to see what you come up with every day. Yeah. How has blogging been while you've been working during the quarantine?
So fortunately for me, I enjoy the quarantine. I was made for the quarantine because I have turned into an introvert in my 30s. So now that I don't have to commute, I don't have to haul anyone anywhere. I wake up at like 6:00 in the morning. Nobody's awake. I get my coffee. And from the hours of 6 to 9, those are my content hours. So I'm doing blogging, I'm emailing, I'm taking pictures if I need to. And like that picture that I posted this morning was fresh off the press.
So you do all of this yourself?
Yes, everything is myself. And everything I do myself here at the house is pretty scrappy. And I just try to plan ahead, like based on things that I know are coming. But if it's something that comes up like at the last minute, then obviously it's a
Yeah.
same day thing. But you know.
Yeah. How long have you been blogging, and what is your blog about? Is it a lifestyle blog? That's what for our listeners.
Yes. So I have been blogging since blogging was blogging. I've literally been blogging. I had a blog when I was like 16, 17, before they were even calling it blogs. You know, I had, I think it was like Live Journal or something crazy,
Mm-hmm.
but I had that. And I've just been doing it on and off for a really long time. And my blog that I have currently is a lifestyle blog. So it's just like I want to be niche really, really bad, but at the same time, I have a lot of different things that I like to talk about, and I like to have, variety is the spice of life. So I like to have like a lot of things that I can dip in and out of when I feel like it. So I just called it like a lifestyle mommy blog.
Yeah, no, it's really good. Explain what you mean by niche for someone who's just starting.
Yeah, some people have, a specific topic that they talk about all the time. Like one lady that I follow, she blogs about motorcycles and women, and that's like her niche because she talks about. So she has like sponsorships from Harley Davidson and things like that. So
that's so cool.
That's her niche. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Like, get as specific and weird as possible.
Yeah, it could be anything. I know someone, a girl who has she has cerebral palsy, but she's a model, and so that's like her niche. So it's really cool. Like, I think if you have a unique niche, definitely follow it, but I couldn't narrow one thing down because then I would be like, no, but I'm neglecting this other piece of so
I think you weave them pretty seamlessly because it doesn't feel overwhelming when I'm looking at your content. Like, it still feels like you. So you're the main focus, and then it's nice seeing all of the aspects of your life. So I think you do very well with it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm a little bit biased, but I'm not that biased because I'm a Virgo. You're a Virgo. I'll tell you. You know how we are.
Yes. Right. Well, I took your class, so you taught me everything I know.
Oh, okay. So, if someone is starting their own blog right now and, the quarantine might have thrown them off, their plan or their launching, do you have any suggestions of how they might get back into it? Maybe how they can make a new schedule?
Yeah, and I think that's the most important thing. Like, like I tell people this all the time in my personal life and my professional life, there's no magic formula. So you have to do what works for you. You have to write about what works for you. And if it doesn't fit at the time, write it and save it for later. I had a lot of things planned. I want to go outside and take pictures, and all of those things have kind of been derailed, or, we had to find a workaround, and I've been able to do that mostly. But I think during this quarantine, the most important thing I think bloggers should be doing is giving people solutions to things that they're doing in the house, like everyday things, which I've been trying to do. And then also like just documenting how you're feeling and what you're seeing in the world, because I really think that there's going to be an opportunity in the future once this all settles to have it featured in different places. So my husband has a camera and he has to take his mom to dialysis. So he goes and takes pictures like downtown of the empty streets and people walking. So it's just like stuff like that. Important for us to document it. Even a lot of like news personalities have been saying like document this journey and just not like what's happening in your house, but like how you're feeling mentally and like how the news that you're receiving is affecting you.
Yeah. I saw this hilarious, well, it wasn't very hilarious actually, it was a little bit scary, a meme that said, you had grandparents who were alive during the Depression and they did those Depression era kind of habits. We're going to be that when we're grandparents, but we're going to be scrubbing everything down. And it just made me think of my grandma who was alive during, she was a kid during the Great Depression, and she had an obsession with tinfoil. Like, she saved every piece of tinfoil that she possibly could find. And she also believed that the freezer was like a magic time capsule. Anything that went in the freezer for however long you went in there was still good. So I was like, I'm gonna be my grandma. That is so true.
That is. Because I'm telling you right now, I'm hoarding the canned goods like crazy. Haven't opened them. They're just here just in case.
Yeah, you made me think of that with like, make sure you're documenting this because it's going to be a hallmark of, our generation where they're going to, kind of be at a crux. Like we
Yeah.
all went through this together, and it's really good for community to see how we're coping and what we all saw. And
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what social media is all about, kind of experiencing together.
Yeah. And this has brought people together more than anything that has happened in our lifetime.
Yeah.
Because now, you're kind of forced to, I mean, that's all you have to talk to is your social media friends or, calling someone. And we don't really talk on the phone in this generation. So, like when I was a kid, we used to pick up the phone and call each other. Now, I can just shoot you a Facebook message or like
I
I
know.
feel like I'm keeping in touch if I comment on someone's.
I know. Like, I feel like I've talked to somebody and I just text them and I was like,
Right.
oh, but I thought that was an effective form of communication. What?
Right. They're still connected.
It counts, right? So kind of going back to your blogging, why did you choose not social media, Instagram as kind of your Instagram and Facebook as your favorite places to get your content out? Why do you think it works for you?
So, being a social media manager, I know where these brands are spending a lot of money, and one of my goals was to like bring in other streams of income, right? So,
Yeah.
now that I have some little insider secrets when it comes to like being an influencer and like sponsorship. So, I also have like a lot of followers for just a lowly social media manager. And, it's a place where I can engage with people. So a lot of times when I post something, people engage with me. And what brands look for is someone who can influence the decision maker. And so
Mm,
since I'm the decision maker in my household, a lot of other decision makers like myself,
yeah.
they will like, oh, she's doing that. So maybe I should try it. She has this weird push to start can opener. Maybe I can go out and get it myself.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Nice. Do you schedule out your content also?
Sometimes I do. So I have a few apps that tell me like what's the best time to post based on when all of my followers are on social media. But it's been kind of helter skelter lately because everybody's on all the time now.
Right.
So
Right. It's kind of different.
yeah.
Um, as a writer, I know a lot of my writer friends are like, you need to start putting out shorter, faster pieces because
Mhm.
there's going to be a hungry audience that wants to consume it.
Right.
Um, I'm working on being more of a writer like that. I'm a little bit, take a little bit longer and a little bit more long-winded, but yeah, there's a constant audience now. Does that add to any of your stress while you're making content? That's
Sometimes
me.
it does, but only
Okay.
because I've put the stress there. Like
Okay.
if I have a
Mm,
deadline from a brand, then that's one thing. But when I'm like, I'm gonna do this many blogs this week and I'm gonna take this many photos and I'm gonna do this, that's the real stress when you put that
yeah.
pressure on yourself. But
Yeah.
I like started to really focus on enjoying what I'm doing and like valuing it for myself instead of trying to I don't know, I guess maybe like impress other people if that's a good way to put it, but it's more just it's about me and what I value and what I want to talk about and the things that I appreciate that I want to impress upon other people.
Oh
So,
man, that's just such a good segue because what I really want to talk about also, and we got like about 10 more minutes or so, and I want
yeah.
to make sure we get this in and anything else that you want to add. Doing this all in a healthy way because social media is amazing,
Mhm.
but it can also add to, stress and depression if you're kind of using it in a way that kind of revs you up like that. So
Yeah.
what do you think about kind of culture of social media, the dark side of culture of social media that
It
kind
can
of gets us in that place?
it can be very dark. It can
Yeah.
be like, especially when you have friends who are doing things that you want to do, or they're comparing themselves to celebrities and things of that nature. And I think we have to be more careful about what we're consuming. So for
Mm,
me, I started to follow accounts that were more positive and like quotes and affirmations and things that I love that make me happy versus like the shade room or, celebrity gossip stuff. Like sometimes you can get in a rabbit hole with that kind of stuff, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm very guilty of that. But just not following a lot of news sites. Like I gave myself a rule during this quarantine too, like CNN once a day. Once a
Okay.
day, that's it. No more, no less.
I
Once
only
a
take
day.
pandemic
I
once a
can't
day.
I can't take too much more of that. Like just, you know, managing what you're consuming and how you're
Yeah.
consuming it and how you're internalizing it. And that also helps with like documenting, like, you know, seeing some of these things that are happening in other parts of the world in the country, and now it's trickling down to people that I know. And, you know, it's just managing those places where you can manage it, because if it's happening to someone you know, then you can't do anything about it. But seeing
Yeah.
it and analyzing it about strangers and things that you can't control is something that you should be able to stay on top of. So
Mm. That's so good. And also like those people on your timeline, you know that one person is always kind of like your like, thanks for noticing me. Good day. What's so good about it? Like that person,
yes,
feel
right,
free to restrict.
exactly. You can mute people, you can mute
Mute.
them. I literally, there's a feature I just discovered on Instagram where if you hit your followers, you can see the people that you least interact with. And for me,
Mm.
it's like all of these random brands that I follow that I got served ads for things that I wanted to buy, but I never will.
Hmm.
So I unfollowed all of them. I went on an unfollow spree and I was like, good day, sir. And then when you unfollow one, it says, oh, there's 20 similar accounts like this. Go unfollow them too. Delete it.
Your mental health right now is so important. And, I
Yeah.
actually started following a lot of therapy accounts on
Mhm.
Instagram. So it's like, this is good content because I just need little reminders
Yeah.
that everything's going to be okay. So, like, those little things are super important
Yes.
for mental health on social.
And that's why I was like, I just can't take it anymore. And then I have a daughter too, so it's really
Right.
different. It's different for them. Oh, I mean, so and so didn't like my post. You know, this person unfollowed me. I thought we were friends. Blah, blah,
Yeah.
you know, that whole deal. So it's just trying to impart these pearls of wisdom on the teenagers as well.
Oh yeah, I could not imagine having so we were talking about this a little bit earlier, but having social media the way that it is when we were in, elementary school or in middle school, high school, that sort of thing. It's very intense to have those feelings of adolescence on top of this kind of fake little intense world too. It's
Right.
it's a
Yeah,
lot to
fake
process.
intense is keyword. Like I'm like the things you're dealing with right now, they're not real. Like this is
Yeah,
not something
yeah,
you will have to worry about when you're in college, when you're in your career field. Like
yeah,
who
yeah.
cares?
100%. Well, we got about 5 more minutes. Is there anything that I haven't covered that you think people should know while they're blogging, while they're, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter during this time to keep themselves in a healthy mind frame?
Yeah, like basically what I've been doing too is just being really creative with this time. So if I'm
Yeah,
like, you know, I have a few extra minutes on Sunday night, I'm gonna paint a picture, and it's very easy. Just buy yourself some paint supplies from Amazon because all the Michaels are closed now, but
yeah,
there, there's
as they
tutorials.
should be. They fought for that.
There's tutorials on YouTube for easy paintings for beginners. It's super relaxing. So just, you know, getting creative, taking that time out for yourself to like rest your mind, I think is
Mm,
really important. Not putting a lot of stress on yourself. And then also I had one thought and it just out of my mind.
that happens.
Yeah, I
I'm like,
can't.
what day is it? Nah, I don't know
Right.
what day it
What day
is.
is it? Look, I was so excited to put lipstick on today.
I have a reason to comb my hair. This is so interesting. This is like I think I said this in the other session, but I was like, this is the week between Christmas and New Year's, but just like
Right, when nobody
forever.
knows what's going on.
It never
Exactly.
ends.
Oh, I remember the thought. The thought was that there's, like I said earlier, there's no magic formula. So
Yeah,
no matter how many people you talk to, like you have to do what works for you and find out what's working and do more of that. So
yeah,
there's no number of posts per day. Like you can try to target for like the best time of day to post, but really, I mean, it matters, but it doesn't matter. Like, as long as you have quality content, you'll get the engagement, and engagement is important. Likes are okay, are part of engagement, but the biggest piece is talking to people versus talking at.
Yes, that could be a whole session in itself. It really could.
Yeah.
Well, I am super excited that you were able to come and talk to us. Please let us know, where can we find you? Where can we follow your blog?
Yes. So you can find me on all of the socials. My name is @King_DNW. So Dominique Nichelle Wright is my name. My initials are DNW. So King_DNW on Instagram and Twitter. And then my website is DominiqueWright.com. And that's it.
Perfect. Easy to find. I love it. Well, I think that's all we pretty much have for today's session. Thank you for being in my hot seat and answering all of my many questions. This is what I do. I ask lots of questions.
I love the questions. I'm here for it.
That's what I'm here for. I think we'll have to do this again at some point, because there's just way more to talk about, but we have a short session.
There's so much time. So anytime.
Infinite time. Forever. So we would probably have to have you back on Create at Home at some point. But again, thank you for today's session.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Of course. All right. Well, I think that's all we have. So I will see you guys in 2 weeks. And I believe next time we'll cover meditation. So if you want to do a little yoga and meditation, same time, same place in 2 weeks.
Awesome. All right. Bye.
Bye, everyone.